sickness, the depravity. I love it all.
Doomed Planet, the podcast, episode 64. We're doing obituaries for this season, and favorite holidays coming up. Halloween. It's going to be scary. Seattle in 2021 is very scary. People living in tents, under tarps, under every bridge in Seattle, probably every bridge in the United States. It's sickening. This is where the two of the richest people in the history of capitalism live. Several billionaires, many billionaires live in Seattle. It's a disgrace, and no one is doing anything except making hostile architecture and putting up fences with razor wire to keep these poor, desperate souls from sleeping under a bridge. It's sick. Ah. Oh. No! Perfect for Halloween. Want to hear very, very scary Seattle Halloween stories? Then stay tuned. The Seattle Star, November 1st, 1922. As the most serious aftermath of Seattle's Halloween celebration, 3 children, 2 of them girls, were suffering from painful gunshot wounds. And A.H. Stone, 70, of 1017 Cloverdale Street, was in the city jail, charged with assault in the 2nd degree. Part of Stone's fence was torn down by a gang of young hoodlums Tuesday night. Stone, incensed, rushed out with a shotgun loaded with buckshot and rock salt. By that time, however, the boys who had done the damage had fled, and only a group of smaller children were left behind. Stone is alleged to have fired into the children. 3 of them fell groaning to the ground. Alice Rask, 13, was the most severely wounded, her skin being punctured in 23 different places by rock salt and shot. More than 50 other reports were received by the police of various Halloween pranks, most of which were harmless, although numerous householders were irate. Several traffic accidents were narrowly averted after ghosts had removed red lanterns from dangerous spots in the streets and misplaced street obstruction signs. While pursuing a band of, quote, goblins in the Capitol Hill district, Patrolman A.V. Olstrom lost his handcuffs. But the ghosts were honest. They returned the manacles Wednesday with a good-natured note. Jumping to 1955, this is in the Jadensar Fraternalist. It's a Serbian newspaper. Seattle juniors prep for Halloween Fun Fest. The spooks and goblins will arrive early in Seattle when Junior Nest 22 holds their first Halloween masquerade party at the Serbian Hall. Well, gosh, that's not too scary. The San Juan Islander, jumping back to 1911. A Halloween party was given by the Ladies' Aid Society, which was well patronized. The program and decorations were unique and suitable to the season. Refreshments consisting of gingerbread, pumpkin pie, applesauce, and cider were served by the, quote, witches. Also not scary. I better find some crime here. Some scary Seattle Halloween crime. All right, here's some good goddamn crime. The Seattle Post-Intelligencer, 1900, 120 some years ago. Halloween was observed in South Seattle in the usual manner by the... God, dogs barking like crazy. Fuck. Dog break. Halloween was observed in South Seattle in the usual manner by the young people of both sexes. While a few amused themselves by playing harmless jokes, such as unhinging gates, fastening tic-tacs, etc., many of the larger boys destroyed property. Back to the Seattle Star. That's from 1924. Between now and Halloween, hundreds of Seattle boys and girls will get their heads together and figure out ways and means of playing Halloween jokes on their neighbors and friends. We would fight to the last ditch against any move to bar young America from its innocent Halloween fun. Memories are still too keen of glorious, exciting nights in the long ago. But we do ask every boy and girl in Seattle, in planning his or her Halloween fun, to think whether the prank they plan is safe. To think whether it is, in all caps here, destructive. Yeah, Halloween around Seattle is scary. It's starting to get cold, starting to get dark. It's misery. Seattle Star, October 31st, 1919. Mayor C.B. Fitzgerald admits he deserved arrest. So do other prominent men. Played Halloween pranks. Mayor Cecil B. Fitzgerald made the startling admission Friday that at one time in his career he should have been arrested for a Halloween prank he played in Ballard. The gang, said the mayor, included Dr. David Livingston, formerly head doctor for the Northern Pacific, who was then a kid like the rest of us. The Livingston family had a gate. The day before Halloween, Dave went out and wired it fast to the fence. We decided this was unsportsmanlike, and after Dave had gone home Halloween night, the rest of us swiped a pair of nippers from the hardware store and cut the gate loose. We hung it from the telephone wires over Ballard's main street after putting a sign on it, Livingston's Gate. The next day, the Livingstons, not knowing we were the pranksters, gave the gang, D.E., $2.50 to get the gate down again. That's a pretty brazen prank. You shoplift some clippers, steal a fence, hang it on a telephone wire, and then defraud your parents by having them pay you to clean up the mess. C.B. Fitzgerald was mayor of Seattle only for about 6 months, and he came after Ole Hansen, who famously kind of stood up to the strikers of the general strike of 1919. And C.B. Fitzgerald, also no friend of labor. The Bismarck Tribune, 1930. 2 seem fatally hurt in Halloween tragedies. That's an interesting headline. You seem to be fatally hurt. Seattle, November 1st. 1 youth was shot and seriously wounded. 2 persons were hurt, probably fatally, and 4 youngsters were nursing injuries today as the cost of Halloween gaiety in Seattle and Tacoma. And there's a celebration held at Devil's Lake, North Dakota. That sounds satanic. Seattle Star, 1924. Halloween. Halloween is different. It is gay, mysterious, grotesque, unconventional, hilarious, dedicated by staid old custom to young life, liberty, and the pursuit and capture of happiness. The Tacoma Times, October 30th, 1915. There's going to be a Halloween dance by the jitney drivers at the Eagles Hall at 9 p.m. tonight. And, of course, jitneys are kind of the Uber of their day. They're basically unlicensed cab drivers. It can be any vehicle. And, guys would pull up to bus stops and say, for an extra nickel, I'll take you to where you want to go, right to your door. The Kennewick Courier-Reporter, 1927, Halloween was celebrated quite elaborately throughout this vicinity as witches and ghosts were encountered on every road and byway. That's funny because if you take that literally and threw out a spell wrong there, I'm a stickler for typos. There were real witches and ghosts, and they were on every road in Seattle. Unbelievable. It's a lot scarier back in the 20s in Seattle. The Seattle Star, October 30th, 1911. Look out. Tomorrow night's a bad one for all good citizens, and a terror for the fellow with the jug or demijohn. It takes no stretch of the imagination to see frightful things, at least not in the highways and byways of Seattle. There's one of these old-timey cartoon illustrations of a guy with a jug or demijohn getting scared by some pumpkins, and it's really done in that Robert Crumb style with the boots sticking out. So, that's funny, the old trope that if you're drunk, if you see something unusual, you'll be extra scared. It's probably the opposite. Judging from the sale of pumpkins and white muslin the last week, there will be some ghostly army parading about to strike terror into the hearts of the young ones and grown-ups alike. Ghosts and goblins, strange sounds and unearthly noises, these are the annual accompaniment of Halloween in Seattle. Here's an ad for the Bon Marché department store in the Seattle Star, 1913. Halloween specials: pumpkins, 2.5 cents; popcorn, 7 cents a pound; Spitzenberg apples, $2.25 for a case; pumpkin pie, 25 cents; pure rolled oats, 37.5 cents. Wait a minute. So did they have half-cent pieces back then? But yeah, that's the scariest thing of all about this ad. Weird. When you're looking for Seattle Halloween history online, sometimes you will find a rock band from 1979 called Halloween. And there's a video of them on YouTube. They're playing at the Buffalo Tavern. And this guy, Martin Ulstein, is the guitarist. He can really shred. He's a virtuoso. I don't think his music career went anywhere, but that's so interesting. I mean, this was, you said, recorded on a reel-to-reel videotape system. 1979, not a lot of people, except for some of the bigger perverts like Bob Crane, had, this kind of video recording setup. It's expensive. Martin Ulstein has a YouTube channel. You can see him playing guitar. He's of baby boomer age, and it's funny, his style of guitar, the way he tunes his guitar, reminds me of Yngwie Malmsteen. He's like a metal shredder. Okay, now it's time for a word from our sponsor.
You're all invited to a centennial celebration. What they were celebrating wasn't important, and it sounded like a heap of fun until 2,000 maniacs, crazed for carnage, started bathing an entire town in pulsing human blood. You'll see 6 young strangers doomed to slaughter by an ancient curse.
There came an awful sound.
And from his lips there came an awful sound.
Brutal, evil, ghastly beyond belief. You'll see the most diabolical device ever contrived, designed solely for assassination by a town of madmen, insane with bloodlust.
Stonewall took a gun and he made the Yankees run, but he
2,000 maniacs, gruesomely stained in blood color.
Old Stonewall said, I'm a-giving you a dying man's request.
I'm a-giving you a dying man's request.
Starring Playboy's favorite playmate, Connie Mason.
Oh, the South's gonna rise again.
Gee, this episode has turned out to be not scary, so I guess for something horrifying, let's wrap it up by looking at some political mailers. Here's one: vote for Bruce Harrell for a mayor who will get Seattle back on track. Now, this goblin, Bruce Harrell, he stood by alleged sex offender and pedophile Ed Murray up until the day he resigned, at which point Bruce became mayor for several days. And, he's supported by the real estate cabal, the rich people that run things. And there's some gibberish about how he's going to solve the homelessness crisis. New ideas. I mean, this guy was on the city council for a dozen years and never did anything. So that's scary. Even more hideous, vote Sara Nelson for city council. This is mailer was paid for by PAC money, National Association of Realtors. And she is a sober brewery owner. Don't buy Fremont Brewing. Don't buy their beer. I'm all for sobriety and for, pausing on alcohol, permanently quitting alcohol, especially if you have a problem, but you own a brewery. I mean, that's brewery owners should be able to taste their product. And yeah, she's a maniac who it's hard to, she's a she-witch, a goblin also, and a ghoul. A monster. She deserves to have a sheet over her head, but like as a Halloween costume. And she's this, the cops love her. That's all we got to say. Finally, this is a huge 8.5 by 11 tri-fold expensive mailer. Nicole Thomas-Kennedy, and there is a picture of her with a bandana on, as if she's at a protest. Lawless in Seattle. It's giant 100-point type. Nicole Thomas-Kennedy is running, Pete Holmes, city attorney that I sort of liked because he helped legalize marijuana in Washington. He got primaried from the left, from NTK, and primaried from the right by a unqualified chud who we won't mention. But they hate her. She wants to, defund the police on the way to abolishing the police, as any sane person would want. And if you know anything about the Seattle police, Carmen Best, by the way, former police chief, another she-witch, hideous monster. And, you can't talk about women's looks or this or that. She's ugly. She looks like, I might have said this before, that Mad magazine cover by Basil Wolverton of like the hideously ugly girl. Anyway, they quote her, "The first thing I will do is stop prosecuting almost all misdemeanors." Yes, we don't need to throw someone in jail because they stole a sweater from the Goodwill so they can keep warm in their tent. Oh, and look, she's endorsed by former Seattle police chiefs Carmen Best, who gassed an entire neighborhood for 2 weeks, a residential neighborhood, and allowed her police force to abandon the East Precinct. When we look back on Seattle history in 100 years, that will be a giant moment. And, the police were trying to set some sort of trap so they could get the protesters to come in and then come back in and retake the place and bust some heads. But The protesters were too savvy. Disgraceful. So there you have it. I would go to @NTK all day. Sign up with Nicole on Twitter. She's awesome. One of the great things to have happened in this election, and I think she has a chance. They're throwing all the money, all the real estate chud money against her, but this other idiot, nitwit, and nincompoop that's running against her just is embarrassing when she opens her mouth. This has been the Doomed Planet Podcast, and you can reach me, doomedplanetpod@gmail.com. We're on Twitter @doomedplanetpod, and take a break with this fucking podcasting. It's stupid, but I'll be back few weeks. Goodbye.
It makes no difference which one of us you vote for. Either way, your planet is doomed. Doomed!